All right, well, welcome everybody to Juice Plus Canada's Healthy Living Revolution series. We have calls like this every single month. Sometimes they're going to be on gut health. Sometimes we're going to have a nutritionist on here tonight. You have me. My name is Michelle Rogers, and I'm a high school science teacher. And I'm also a national marketing director with the Juice Plus company. So I'm going to share with you guys tonight about real food and how it leads to real change. And this is a real passion of mine. But first, let me introduce myself. So here's me and my beautifully blended family. So I have 3 stepkids and 2 kids of my own. And there is my wonderful husband, Kelly. This is us on Vancouver Island. I am a farm girl from Viking, Alberta. I have a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Education, and I taught high school biology, chemistry, and physics. I now do this business full-time, although I found it completely by accident. And never did I ever grow up thinking, when I grow up, I want to be a fruit and vegetable tycoon. But here I am. You know, life has seasons and it has a path in mind for us. And if you're open and you go with the flow, it can kind of lead you into a higher purpose. And that's what I have found with this company. But tonight, I'm just going to talk to you about real food and how that leads to real change. And there are 2 types of food, and I'm going to talk to you about primary foods as well as whole foods. So primary foods are things like breath, water, sunlight, sleep, and movement. These are the things that you can do for free to really level up your health. And whole food is everything that was put on this planet for us to eat in its most whole form and untouched by man. And we're going to talk about both tonight. So first, let's talk about the primary foods. Breath work is so integral to our health. It immediately reduces blood pressure. It takes down the heart rate. It lowers cortisol levels, and it's just so good for our body. So what I recommend with breath work is just kind of being mindful. You know, next time you're in a stressful situation, something triggers you, maybe think about taking a deep breath or 2. I always recommend 5 deep yoga belly breaths. And if you're sitting there at home, just imagine that you have your hand on your stomach and you breathe in so deeply that the air pushes past your lungs and fills up your belly and pushes your hand away. That's a yoga belly breath. And if you do 5 of these before dealing with a stressful situation, because it does such good things to your physiology, it will give you that space to make a better choice. And I always like to tell a story because I was taught this and I actually used it when I was a young single mom. And I was on my own and I went into the washroom and there was pee everywhere. And I'm not just talking like a little accident on the toilet seat, but I'm talking about the walls, the floor, the whole bathroom. And of course, my heart rate immediately goes up. I'm immediately upset. I can't believe this has happened. And I go out of the bathroom ready to just like give the kids the what for. They were 2 and 4 at the time. But then I remembered, no, Michelle, take the breaths and see if you can make a better choice here. So I took these 5 deep breaths. And what it did is it gave me room to make a better choice. I came out and I said, somebody, please explain to me what happened in the bathroom. And I was able to ask a question. And my daughter, who has this little cartoon voice still at the time, came out and said, oh, Mommy, that was me. I tried to pee standing up, but I don't have a hose like Lincoln. And I died laughing. Immediately, what was a really stressful situation turned humorous. I now have a story for her wedding that I'm going to probably tell. And I would have never known. What I was going to do is come out and yell and probably make her go into tears and not even be able to tell me what actually happened. So, you know, this works with bosses, it works with kids, it works with all stressful situations. And all you have to do is breathe. Another great thing would be to take some deep breaths every morning and take a moment to set your intention for the day, and maybe go over your list of what you're grateful for. All right, the next one is water. And water is more important than a lot of people give it credit for. We're mostly made of water, and all of our physiological processes happen in water. So our enzymatic, like digestion responses, neurological impulses happen in the medium of water, basically every chemical reaction. So if we're hydrated, not only do we feel better, our skin's better, but also too, our chemical reactions happen faster. So we're thinking more clearly and just digesting properly, and it's just so good for everything. So the rule of thumb with water is basically you want to be drinking enough water that your urine is light yellow and is odorless, okay? So there shouldn't be a smell. And that means you're hydrated. And if you need to drink more, drink more. Everybody's different. If you eat a whole lot of whole food, then you're not gonna have to drink as much, you know, as many cups of water as somebody who eats a lot of processed food. But just watch that urine and make sure that you're hydrated. It's gonna benefit your health in many, many more ways than just giving you nice skin. Next is sunlight. It's really important for us to be out getting sunlight because we get natural vitamin D, and vitamin D is actually mislabeled. It should be called hormone D. And I love that when we go out in the sun, this helps us with our mental well-being. But here's the bad news, especially for those of us up in Canada. We are at an angle from the sun, which means that from the months of October all the way till May, we cannot get natural vitamin D. So over the winter months, I really encourage everybody to take a vitamin D drop. And the reason I say drop is the mouth is a mucous membrane, and that vitamin D can be immediately absorbed into the bloodstream, and it doesn't have to mess around with the digestive tract because there's only a very small piece of the intestine that can absorb vitamin D as a supplement. So that's my first recommendation. My second is during the months of May to October, when we can get natural vitamin D, go get it. Get out in the sun. Do not use sunscreen until you get about 20 minutes of natural sunlight on your skin. And this goes for kids too. You're not going to obviously want to put them out in the heat of the sun for 20 minutes, at high noon. But if you do it earlier in the day or later in the evening, but let the sun kiss their skin because, Florida has the lowest tested levels of vitamin D of all the states in the United States. And that's because they wear a lot of sunscreen and they avoid the sun. So we do need to be getting that natural vitamin D. It's good for mental well-being. It's also good for a lot of other things in your body and for your health. So definitely protects us from disease and all kinds of things you wouldn't even imagine. A little droplet bottle of vitamin D costs about $35 from a health food store and will last your family about a year. So it's very affordable. The next one is movement. This is one that I struggle with because I always thought that I had to be doing, high intensity workout classes and pumping iron and all this crazy stuff. And I'm really bad at keeping consistent. But when I learned from a doctor that we basically need to move our bodies 30 minutes each day for about 5 days a week for the maximum benefits to our health, our cardiovascular system and that kind of thing. And when I learned that it doesn't have to be all together, that we could do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and 10 minutes there, it really changed my life. So whatever exercise you're going to do is the best exercise for you. Be that walking up and down the stairs a little bit, taking the stairs rather than the elevator, parking a little further away from work or shopping, going to the mall and go a little bit early and walk around the mall if it's wintertime. Walking your dog, just find things that fits into your schedule that you will do. And I hope that you guys are not raising your hand because you can't hear. I don't even know what to do about that. So I've seen 2 raised hands. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay, the next is sleep. So sleep restores and replenishes our body. Definitely is something that is a struggle for us in society. I think that, I'm going to just check the chat here quick. Okay, you can hear me fine. Great. It restores and replenishes our body, helps regain basically our hormones and everything. So here's what I know to be true about sleep. Sleeping is more and more challenged these days. And the blue light from our smartphones has been disrupting our sleep patterns. So a lot of people will say, I'm struggling to fall asleep, I can't stay asleep, or I'm waking up really early for the day. And here's a couple things that you can do about your sleep in order to try to improve it so that you can get that really regenerative, restoring sleep process for your body, because this heals your body, prevents disease. It's just so good for you. It's when your brain files all your information. So number 1, give yourself a bedtime routine. It's really important to teach your nervous system that it's almost time for bed. Okay, so 30 minutes phone-free minimum. Actually, eye doctors are recommending 2 hours phone-free before bedtime. I'm not really sure I could do that, so 30 minutes is my routine. I plug my phone in outside of the bedroom and use an old school alarm clock. The other thing is you don't want to be snacking on processed food too late in the evening. What that does is dehydrates your body a lot. It's also difficult to digest, so your kidneys are going to be waking you up throughout the night. So if you are going to have an evening snack, make sure it's an apple or something whole food. Now, one thing I don't want you guys to think about me is that I'm some kind of perfect eater, because I'm not. I am an 80-20 eater. I love chips and dip. I love poutine. I will go to the closet and eat it because, the pantry, because it doesn't seem to count in there. But I'm just a normal eater. So, I do have processed food in the evening every once in a while, but I do understand that it's going to disrupt my sleep. So I usually try to do it on a Friday night, and then I'm not so worried about it, but definitely not on a weekday. Okay. So that is sleep. The other thing that I really want you to know about sleep is that we regenerate our hormones for the next day from the sleep that we take before midnight. And this is important because if you're going to bed at midnight or very close to midnight, you aren't generating hormones for the next day, which could be big trouble for your family, for your kids. I know that my husband has gotten so good at this when he'll be looking at the clock and be like, I think we should go to bed right now. So you get that like hormone sleep. And we always laugh and joke about it, but it's actually true. I'm much better with my family when I've gone to sleep at 10:30 at night and I get that pre-midnight sleep. And this is due to the circadian rhythm and it's how we work with the sun. So definitely make sure that you are getting that pre-midnight sleep so that you can generate your hormones for the next day. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to talk about whole food. What is it? It is that which is whole or real. It is picked from a bush or a tree or a vine. It is pulled from the ground. It swims in the ocean and streams, or it runs on the land. It is untouched by man. It is fruits and vegetables. It is live food, not dead food. So I want you to think about your fridge for a minute and think about that bag of carrots that's been in there for probably way too long. You might not have one right now, but at some point in your past, I know you know what I mean. That bag of carrots that's growing all kinds of hairs. You pick one up and it doesn't even hold its shape. I want you to think about that carrot and picture cutting the end of it off and sticking it into a glass of water. And what will happen to that really poor, pathetic carrot is that it will continue to grow. It will sprout roots. It will come back to life. It's still living, even in that pathetic form that it is in your fridge. And when I heard that by a health talk that I went to, it just was like I had never really thought of it. So this is food that has an electrochemical vibration of its own. And when we eat whole food, we add to our own vibration. This is why whole food adds to our health, adds to our energy, and just adds to our mood. When we eat things that we call nutritional deficit. So for example, picture poutine, which is one of my favorites. That's why I always give it as an example. So French fries with curds of cheese and gravy, and everything's melted and delicious. That food will give me calories, but I will not get any nutrition out of that food due to the deep frying and everything that's added on top. So what I call that is nutritional deficit food, because that meal, that poutine, will steal nutrients that I ate in previous meals in order to process and digest that food. So not only doesn't it give us nutrition, it takes nutrition that we previously ate, which is why we call it nutritional deficit, okay? So I would say we're at a place where we know now more than ever that whole food adds to our health in a way that even could add years to our life. I don't think I'm going out there on a limb when I say if we eat healthy and we exercise regularly, we're going to live longer. And you guys, think about Body Break with Hal and Sue Johansson. That's been ages that those guys have been telling us how good it is to treat your body with kindness. So this isn't new, but yet our whole hospital system is overloaded with new illnesses and more sickness and disease than we've ever seen before. And yet we're more educated than we've ever been. So where is the disconnect? I don't know. I would pose a few things. I'm freezing. I don't know if I can fix that, you guys. Maybe I'll try to escape out of this. There's less and less nutrition in food due to cutting corners and growing practices. So my dad's a farmer, and I know this to be true, that they use a lot more chemical on their crops than they ever have before. We are definitely picking our fruits and vegetables way earlier than we ever have in the past. And a lot of that leads to a lot less nutrition in our fruits and vegetables. So there are far more processes in the making of our food. So we're adding fillers and binders and colors and flavors and everything to our food. If you guys think about, I read an article once, it was called The Dorito Effect. And I personally love Doritos. If you guys haven't figured out, my weakness with food is salt and fat. A lot of people have sweets as their weakness, but I love really salty, yummy foods. So Doritos is on my list of things that I enjoy. And because of that, I read the article, and this guy was saying, we're not facing an obesity and disease crisis because of sugar or fat in our food or anything else other than this Dorito effect. And his point was, we're over flavoring our food right now to a point that people don't know how to crave real food. And I thought about it for a minute and how I started feeding my kiddos those little cheesy puff things. They say on the label that there's vegetables in there. I was a young mom. I didn't know any better. And I started feeding my kids with them right away. And they're salty and delicious and they taste like a cheesy. So right away I'm teaching my kids, you know, that's way better than eating green beans out of a baby food can, right? And it's starting when they're babies and it's all the way through. Like even me, if there was a bowl of chips beside a bowl of tomatoes, I'm probably going to choose the chips first. And I know better and I love fruits and vegetables. So if that's the real reality for me, then it's probably the reality for a lot of people. Okay, so we're getting more convenient, pre-made, pre-packaged food. We're eating for taste and price these days, no doubt about it. People are leading busier lives. And the last point is from a dear friend of mine, Alyssa Harriman. And she is a holistic nutritionist, a registered nutritionist actually. And she really is at the highest level in her career. She's a teacher at colleges for other people that want to become a nutritionist. She's also a cancer therapist. And when they were in school and studying graphs and things like that, what they realized is that right around the 1960s, they see a huge spike in cancer rates going up. And they wondered, you know, what is this? And the instructor was challenging them to figure it out. And what they figured out is that was exactly the era where double income became necessary to support a household. So mom had to go back to work. And what that meant is canned, boxed, and frozen food. Because you know what? With the working day, you got to get food on the table. You got to feed the kiddos, no matter what it takes. And also, too, aside from all the processed food increasing, we also saw the loss of the family garden. There just wasn't time to keep that garden. I don't know if you guys can remember, but I remember a day when everybody had a garden, even a little patch in the back of their city yard. Everybody had a garden. Everybody grew their own food. They canned and did everything that they would, even if they were on a farm. And when we lost those two things, you know, mom making home cooked meals and that garden, we see cancer rates go through the roof. It used to be back in the day that there would be 1 or 2 kids with cancer in the entire hospital. Now there's entire hospitals dedicated to kids with cancer. And so it was just a really powerful realization for me. So what if there is a company with a heart that inspires healthy living around the world, a company that supplies humans with nutrition at the highest level? We know that we're supposed to be eating 9 to 13 servings of raw fruits and vegetables every single day for optimal health right now. It used to be 5 servings, but it's gone up because what we're getting in the grocery store right now is not vine ripened. So they actually did a study on a bunch of spinach from 1950 and the spinach today. And what they found was shocking. It would take 12 bunches of today's spinach to give you the same nutrition that you would get from one in the 1950s. So we are definitely getting less ripened food with less nutritional density. So how are we supposed to be getting these 9 to 13 servings? When I first heard about Juice Plus, I honestly was a huge skeptic. I really was. I thought, I'm going to eat my fruits and vegetables the real way. I grew up on a farm. I have no interest in eating powdered fruits and vegetables. My kids would eat Brussels sprouts, green beans, spinach salads. Again, we weren't perfect eaters, but I did get them to eat a lot of whole food. So I said no to Juice Plus for a year. And it wasn't until my son Lincoln was struggling with tonsil infections every 2 months. Every 2 months we were in the hospital with a spiked fever and a throat infection that he couldn't manage on his own. So we would get a 10-day dose of Amoxil. We would get Advil Tylenol to control the fever every 3 hours. And by the end of his tonsil infection, I would have 3 to 4 bottles of chemical lined up on the counter that I had pumped into his little body starting at 1 year old. By 4, I was seeing issues with his attention span, his behavior, and I was really concerned about it all as a teacher. And I thought, I'm going to get these tonsils removed. I really just trusted and leaned into the medical system at the time. And that's when my friend Sandy said, Michelle, you know that I love Lincoln, right? And I took one look at her. I'm like, you're going to talk about Juice Plus, aren't you? And we both laughed. And she said, honestly, what if it worked and I hadn't said anything? Like, it's just whole food. It's 30 raw fruits and vegetables that they grow until they're totally ripe, ready to fall off the plant. They don't have to be shipped anywhere. So we don't care if they get bruised or over-ripened. They then go into this giant grinder. And out of that comes a slurry of fruits, vegetables, and berries that's dried out at such low temperature that the fruits and vegetables stay live. And then they are that powder is put into a capsule or a chewable. And it's just whole food. There's research on this product that shows what it does to the immune system. Like, what if this worked? And as a mom, I honestly immediately felt guilty and thought, I'm seriously considering putting my son under the knife. And for lack of better words, cutting his throat out but I will not try fruit and vegetable chewables. What am I thinking? So I took a look at the ingredients. I was super impressed. I agreed to get started for myself through the Family Healthy Starts for Families program. And that meant that I got Lincoln's for free. And we got started right away. Within about 2 or 3 weeks, Lincoln got his first throat infection since Juice Plus, and he fought it without medical intervention. And I was floored and still skeptical. I truly thought that I would try this product for 4 months and then cancel when it didn't work. But it worked. And fast forward, we've been on the product now 7 years. Lincoln has never had a throat infection that required medical intervention. He's never needed a dose of antibiotics. He's never had his tonsils taken out, and he's never had anything that he couldn't handle with his own immune system. And I was floored, like shocked, just like you guys probably are listening to this. And the other thing about Lincoln is that his behavior and his attention span totally normalized. Now, don't get me wrong. I marched right up to a doctor who I saw speaking about this product and said, why did this product do this when our real diet wasn't cutting it? He's a good eater. And he said, Michelle, here's the thing. You probably are a good eater, but I'm guessing you're not eating 30 different things every day. Most people have their favorite 5. And when I thought about that, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, yes, my son will eat Brussels sprouts, but it's like twice or 3 times a year, if I'm honest with myself. Also, one of the vegetables I was counting was steamed broccoli with Cheez Whiz melted on it. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not what I thought my diet was. The false impression I had of us being such healthy eaters was really just kind of exposed with that comment. And then he said the other thing too is the seeds, the pits, the peels, the whole fruit and vegetable goes in. With an orange, for example, there's 80% of the vitamin C in the peel. You're probably not eating the peel, and definitely I wasn't. And he said, it's that variety, it's that whole food, and it's the fact that it's vine ripened. If you could eat 30 fruits and vegetables that you grew yourself, and you guys were eating those every single day, no, you wouldn't need Juice Plus, and probably you would have never seen an issue with Lincoln's tonsils. And that was a light bulb moment for me. That made sense to me as a farm girl who grew up with a garden and eating it the real way. That made sense to me. I just knew that we weren't eating enough of the real thing that was vine ripened and enough variety. So here's I think a really great visual. And basically it's showing you the difference between a multivitamin and an apple. On the left, you'll see a multivitamin, and there's about 12 or 13 different things in a multivitamin. And basically man decided to play with nature and pick out what they thought was best and put it into a multivitamin. They synthesize it in a lab, put it into a big tablet. They have to mega dose you because your body doesn't know what it is. And here's why. If you look at the image on the right, here's an apple. These are 600 of the phytonutrients that you'll find in an apple. There's actually 10,000. So if I was to try to show you everything in an apple, I would need 25 more pages with writing this small. And vitamin C is one of those 10,000 phytonutrients. So that's powerful, you guys. The reason our body knows what vitamin C is because we're used to, or we're supposed to get it in the presence of all 10,000 other phytonutrients, so that our body knows what to do with it. But when we get it in a capsule that's made by man, our body doesn't know what the vitamin C is, which is why we need to megadose, which is why much of it goes into the toilet, because our body works really hard to excrete it because it thinks it's a foreign object. So outside of the Juice Plus, so that was the Juice Plus capsules and chewables that I was just speaking about. We also have a complete protein line. So these are our complete shakes. They are vegan, non-GMO, gluten and dairy free, and basically plant-based protein. And we have French vanilla, which tastes like white cake. And then we have Dutch chocolate, which tastes like a chocolate milk. And what I know about these is that they're delicious. They aren't chalky. They're smooth and creamy. We have one every single day with our kids. They call it chocolate milk. If we just do the shake, chocolate with almond milk, or the French vanilla, I love to put into a whole smoothie, and the kids call that their joy shake. And I love it because they're just getting loaded with 14 different fruits and vegetables than they would get in the Juice Plus capsules, as well as a healthy balance of all of these carbohydrates. It's got a low glycemic index, so it's a slow glycemic release in the body, which means their blood sugars are leveled out for the day, which means my blood sugars are leveled out for the day. These are great for leveling your mood. They're great pre and post workout. They're great as a meal replacement. Honestly, we go through so much complete in our household because it's just a quick, easy, healthy snack. Now, a little bit about the shakes. We also have a bar that goes with this line, and it's a good whole food snack as well, totally vegan, totally plant-based. What I love to talk about with our shakes is the Shred 10, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but the Shred 10 is a program where you can get like support, Facebook support, recipes, etc. It's 10 days of strict eating that basically repopulates your microbiome or your gut in a really healthy way. So what happens with our gut over time is when we eat a lot of processed food, we accidentally kill that good microbiome, that good gut flora that we have that's supposed to help us with life. Not just with weight gain or weight loss, but with everything. They are actually calling the gut the second brain now. And this is really powerful because when we do the shred, what we do is we kill the bad side of the gut. It starves out. Those first 4 days, you can definitely feel that bad side of the gut trying to secrete all these hormones and hijack you. But because we have such a strict formula with this, you can eat as much as you want, but you're taking out processed food, you're taking out gluten, dairy, alcohol, and things like that. Caffeine as well, only for 10 days. It's only one weekend. And we're starving that bad gut. And then the good gut, which is vegan, even if you're not, the gut is, it starts to crave and repopulate itself and crave whole raw fruits and vegetables. So your cravings for salads and things like that go through the roof, and you naturally want to eat those whole fruits and vegetables. This is a long-term lifestyle jumpstart. So you'll do a 10-day shred and you'll feel great for months afterwards, which is really important to know. I do about 2 or 3 of these per year to keep myself on track, because guess what? In the summer, I'm eating hot dogs and drinking beer. And that's just the way it is. I like to live a little. We like camping. We like hanging out with friends. And my gut is out of whack when summer holidays are over. So I do a shred. I also do one after Christmas, and I usually do one leading into summer as well. So please ask the person who invited you to this if you're interested in the shred. It's a powerful program. I see all kinds of results with our clients with this program, and it's quite shocking what happens when we repopulate that good gut. And you guys, they're doing research right now where they're doing human fecal transplants from people with a healthy gut into people that don't have a healthy gut, because they're seeing that it helps with obesity and disease prevention. And I always say to people, I would not in good conscience be able to skip talking about the shred, because the shred is way less invasive than a fecal transplant. Like, try the shred, guys. You don't need to do a fecal transplant in order to repopulate that microbiome. Talk to the person that invited you, because honestly, these are life-changing. And with the shakes and the capsules, you're going to be getting 45 raw whole foods into your body every single day. And trust me when I say you'll feel the difference. The energy, the vitality, the mood. I love hearing back from my clients. It's why I do what I do, when they message me back and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how bad I was feeling before. Wow, I feel better than I did in my 20s. Like, what is this stuff? And it's just whole food. But I heard one person say it's kind of like it's whole food in a capsule or salad in a capsule, but it's like a party in the bloodstream. And truly, like, that's how I picture it every single day, these raw phytonutrients just coursing through my veins. And the last capsule product that I'm going to talk about is our omegas. This is a blend of omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. As nature intended, nothing's been added, but we have skipped the fish and gone straight to where they're getting the omegas to begin with, which is the algae. And then we also added raspberry seed oil, sea buckthorn berry oil, pomegranate seed oil, etc. So that's why it's got a nice wide array of omegas. Kids can eat this product. They can either chew it until all the juice pops out of the capsule and then spit the capsule into the garbage, or you can open it and they can just suck it out. It tastes like orange vanilla, a bit like a creamsicle. You can also just squeeze it into something that they're eating. It's great for kids. It's great for families. It's great for us because we're regenerating brain tissue every single day. And if we don't have enough healthy fat in our diet, our body will take, the poutine that you might have eaten for lunch and build brain out of that. So you definitely want to be having these healthy fats into your diet on a regular basis. And then the last product that I'm going to talk about, and the last product that we have, you guys, is our Tower Garden. This is a vertical aeroponic growing system that you use water and earth minerals in the basin. There's no dirt. The water pumps up the tower and drizzles down over the roots, and it's basically like a fruit or vegetable tree. It can grow indoors with these grow lights in the winter, or it can grow out on your patio in the summer. And it's just really easy gardening. I am terrible at gardening, even though my mom was amazing, and I can do the Tower Garden. So the kids get really involved in their meals because they love that they can go pick that salad off the tower and use it in their for their dinner, and I love that too. So, there's one more slide I wanted to show you guys. That Juice Plus has actually almost 40 published clinical research studies behind it. That's incredible. So we're actually at 38 right now. These studies are done around the world at places like Yale University, the MD Cancer Institute, the Nemours Children's Hospital, places like Japan, Italy, France, not just Juice Plus headquarters. And the reason that's powerful is because this is published research. So it's done by the university. We ask the question, we pay for the research, we give them the product, and then they do the research and they publish it whether the results are good or not. And then that goes to a peer review. So a separate set of scientists that are not connected to the university or us look at the research study, decide if it was done with good ethics and to the highest standards. And if they do agree, then they will publish it. So this is gold standard research. It's impossible to buy gold standard research, you guys. And this means that this product is getting into your body, is being recognized by your body and used by your body, just like real raw whole food, which is really powerful. And I'm just going to do a couple just quickly. This 18 publications showing that it's actually being used by your body and not flushed down the toilet. If you're taking any supplement, I would encourage you to make sure that there's research showing that your body can actually use it. We have 12 publications showing it reduces oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is related to almost every single disease you could imagine. If you type in diseases related to oxidative stress, everything, a plethora of diseases will come up. But doctors don't talk about it because they don't really know how to reduce your oxidative stress. We measure it and they know it, but they don't really want to address it because there really is no medication that can address this. With Juice Plus, within 4 weeks, there was a 75% reduction in oxidative stress. And that was the average, you guys. Some people had 0 oxidative stress after only 4 weeks. So you can imagine being on this product long term. I always like to say that it's genetics that loads the gun, but it's your lifestyle that pulls the trigger. And so you don't have to express the genes that you've been given. My genetic weakness in my family is tonsils. And so what did my son have as his genetic weakness? More seriously in our family, our genetic weakness is cancer. So I love knowing that I can keep my oxidative stress down every single day, that my whole family can, so that we don't have to express that genetic trait that we have. We have 3 publications showing it reduces systemic inflammation. This means the silent inflammation, things that are connected to things like Alzheimer's, heart disease, etc. We support a normal, healthy immune system. This is really important to know for people that are struggling with an autoimmune disease. This product does not boost your immunity. It balances your immune system. It brings up the side of the immune system that's really great at foreign invaders, so things like viruses and bacteria. But it actually settles down the side of your immune system that's overactive if you have an autoimmune disease, and that's those B cells that seem to accidentally be attacking your body, right? So we actually balance out that immune system. We've had some great success with people who have been taking this product that are struggling with immune issues in all different ways. We have 3 publications showing that it protects DNA damage. So this obviously will protect you from aging, slows down that aging process, and also protects from mistakes that could lead to things like cancer. So it's really important to not be replicating these accidental mistakes in our DNA replication. We've got 2 publications that show it helps with skin health and microcirculation. It actually makes your skin thicker and more dense, so pores and fine lines are less noticeable, but also 40% increased microcirculation in your skin. There's not a skincare product in the world that can do that for your skin, and this is why people have what we call the Juice Plus glow, because they have 40% more vascular circulation in their face than you do, which is incredible. And trust me when I say that the skin is just the biggest organ we have. So if the skin is showing that increased microcirculation, we know that obviously those organs in our body and everywhere else are also getting that increased microcirculation. And the last one I'm going to talk about is that we've got 9 publications showing cardiovascular wellness. This is when I got my dad on the product and I said, Dad, look, I have research showing that it increases the artery elasticity, which prevents heart attack. It decreases or increases blood pressure depending on where the struggle is. Like, Dad, you've got to take this product. And that's when he was like, okay, Shell, how much does it cost? I said, it's about $100 a month for the fruits, vegetables, and berries. And he's like, well, heck, that's cheaper than a round at the bar. Even though my dad doesn't go to the bar very often, I don't know why, but that was his measure. And I burst out laughing and I was like, okay, so you'll do it, you'll take it. And he did. He agreed to try it right away. He's been on it for 7 years. It's really improved the inflammatory responses that he was having in his body, leading to him, his hip really flaring up all the time, needing a hip replacement. He still struggles, but it's helped a lot with that. So we started for prevention, and it's always really amazing to see what else will happen when you flood your body with raw, whole food. So I hope you guys that I was able to help tonight in some way or another. Definitely the product is not for everybody, although it's safe for anyone. It's safe from the womb to the tomb. It's safe for pregnant and nursing mamas. It's safe for little babies. It's safe for elderly. It's just pure, raw, whole food, you guys. So I hope that you were able to gain some knowledge tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And just as a heads up, we have another one of these in the Healthy Living Revolution series on June 6th with Melissa Hyde. It's a free health talk, and you're all welcome to attend that one as well. It's going to be on the same exact Zoom ID. So I'm just going to stop the recording.